Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to pop in here with a quick stretch with me video because the sis has tight hips and I know I'm not the only one. So I have Little B dressed up in the same outfit as me in this video, and we're just gonna do this thing together. I was traveling for work last week in Florida, so apologies for the late upload. But after this video is uploaded, I actually need to follow along and do these stretches too. Because after sitting on a plane and sitting at a computer and just being stressed out in general, y'all already know tight muscles are a problem. So if you're following along, be sure to take it slow if you're not used to stretching like this, or if you don't stretch at all. And of course, be sure to pause and rewind the video if you need to, because I'll be speeding it up so we're not here all day. So with that being said, let's do it! Oh, and by the way, note that there are a lot of static stretches here. Not all of them are, but a lot of them are static moves that I do after my training or after my cardio sessions. So in this particular video, I did all of these stretches after I was done with my cardio. So I would definitely not recommend doing any kind of static stretching before working out, because that could actually cause more injury when you're training. Dynamic stretching and warm-ups before training, and then static stretching and cool down after training. Them's the rules. So with that being said, let's get into it. Alright, so here we go. So when I start stretching, since my hamstrings are super tight, I just like to do a really gentle leg stretch to get them warmed up for even more torture that's going to happen later. So I'm just being really gentle here. Definitely can't reach my toes right now, so I just do one side at a time when I'm starting to stretch, first to the left then to the right, and just really warm up into the stretch. And I just take my time, I don't force it, and as you can see, we already have a little bit of improvement here, just less than a minute or so in. And I also like to just lean forward a little bit, lean back a little bit. I like to rotate my feet back and forth just to really warm up my whole leg, but I can definitely feel this in my hamstrings. Zoning out a little bit. And then again, I just really like to go side to side, make sure that my legs are staying flat on the floor, shake it out a little bit. And I really try to watch my form and make sure that I'm stretching properly, because if you're gonna stretch improperly, there's really no point in doing it. And see, we got improvement already, look at that. I really do take my time with this. It's tiring, but it's important. Now we're moving into the butterfly stretch. I honestly haven't seen too much improvement on my butterfly stretch. I always feel like my knees just don't at all go down very far, but I keep doing it anyway, just because I feel like it does help. And now I do 90-90s. I don't know the exact technical name for this, but basically I just put one leg at 90 degrees in front of me and then the other leg behind me, and I just lean forward as much as I can until my head touches my knee, and then I'll move from my upper body, I'll move from left to right. You'll see I'm spreading my arms out ahead of me and really just trying to hit all angles of that stretch. And then I'm just doing the same thing on the other side, put my leg at 90 degrees, put the other leg behind me. This is honestly one of my all-time favorite stretches. I just feel like it opens up not only my hips, but it also stretches out my glute. And then when I'm leaning forward like this, it also stretches out my shoulders and my back as well. It feels really good on my upper back too when I'm really leaning forward and moving side to side. This really helps me open up my hips a lot. This is a variation of basically those 90-90 pigeon type stretches. It's just a dynamic movement. And then I do these little windshield wipers too with my hips. I just try to keep my legs at 90 degrees and then move side to side. These little windshield wipers are also great for a warm-up stretch before you start your training. So since those are a dynamic stretch, they are great for warm-up before you start a leg day or something like that. A little bit more butterfly here, and then we're moving on to some standing stretches. Okay, so these are just some Cossack squats. Basically, I get into a wide stance and I just squat from side to side. Now, if you've never done this before, it might be best to take this very slowly and maybe use your hands to stabilize, almost like a little Spider-Man type of crawl that you're doing. And then just using your hands to stabilize as you move side to side. You can see I'm kind of doing that here as I move, just using my hand to stabilize as I'm moving side to side. And then as I get better at this stretch, I try to keep my hands up, both hands, as I'm moving side to side, but my legs were feeling pretty sore that day, so I needed a lot of stabilization. Alright, this next stretch is one that I really enjoy. You basically just put one leg in front of you, use your hands to stabilize, one leg behind, and you rotate your body and you try to be as flat as possible. My leg is sliding a little bit here, but this is great for stretching out your hips, your glutes. I feel it in my hamstrings for sure. And to make it a more of a dynamic stretch, you just bend that front leg and raise it again and bend it and raise it, as you saw me doing there. This is a really great way to just open up your hips, loosen your hamstrings. I love doing this stretch. It feels really good, especially after a heavy training session. So here it is again, one leg in front, one leg behind, and then I just rotate, open up my chest. I'm getting a stretch in my back, and then I'm bending. Fabulous. I'm bending and raising, just trying to keep my whole body flat, and this just opens up everything. And there we go. Stretching out the quads a little bit. This stretch actually used to be so hard for me to do. I used to not be able to just stabilize myself at all, but working on my core strength and just learning how to control my breathing and whatnot, I'm a lot better at this than I used to be. And it's such a basic stretch. It's like, I was a little embarrassed I wasn't so good at it, but I've improved. And we're walking away. And we're back. And this time we have a band that is going to help me stretch. We're going to do a little bit of upper body, shoulder rotations. And again, this is a great dynamic stretch for if you're getting ready to work out. I also just love doing it at the end of the workout. It just, I don't know, it just helps keep me loosey-goosey. So I'm holding the band very tight. I'm not allowing any slack in the middle, and I'm just rotating my shoulders back and forth. And I love doing this no matter what workout I'm doing. If it's upper body, lower body, I will bust out this orange band in the middle of the gym and I will just warm up using this. I have to keep my shoulders loose. It really helps with injury prevention, especially when I'm going up in weights and shoulder presses and trying to do more push-ups and things like that. It really helps my shoulder, especially my left shoulder, because that's the one that's more injury prone. It definitely helps it stay loose. Here I'm just doing some individual rotations behind the back, people watching. And here I'm throwing in a squat with it. Again, this is one of those moves that just opens everything up. It's really important to just keep that tightness on the band. I will either go and put my hands through those tighter loops that you see on the band, or I'll just usually wrap the band around my hands until it's tight enough. Just a few more shoulder rotations. Tightening it up a little bit more. Feeling risky today. And throwing in a few more of those squats. This feels so good on my chest too, because I don't like chest day, so this really helps loosen up my chest if it's very tight. Yay for the band! And now here we're just doing a little bit more 90-degree leg work. Here we're doing more pigeon type of poses. Stretching out those glutes, keeping the hips open. I really try to keep my front leg at 90 degrees. My leg is definitely not all the way at 90 degrees in this one. I'm not that much of a stretchy sis yet, but it is greatly improved. So I like to, again, lean forward, sit up. And you can still just see how tight my hips are, but even that is an improvement from, say, 2 years ago. So I really have come a long way, and I've been pretty consistent with stretching over the past, I would say, year and a half. I've done a lot better. Again, pigeon, leaning forward. And I like to hold these stretches for anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. It really kind of depends on what other stretches I'm doing, but I really just like to focus on opening up, focus on breathing normally, not being all panicked and stuff because this stuff sometimes hurts or feels kind of sore. Focus on breathing, keeping things open, keeping things loose. And here I'm sitting up, just trying to hit things at all angles. I'm secretly also working on my splits, and it's pretty embarrassing where my splits are at right now, but stretches like this are really gonna help me, again, just open up my hips, open up my hamstrings, loosen those up. And so yeah, we'll see how my journey doing the splits goes. Maybe I'll record some videos on that. This next stretch is one that I actually learned at the chiropractor. I think it's another form of like a pigeon stretch. You basically put one leg, you bend your knees, you put one leg, your foot should actually touch your butt, and then you make a figure 4 with your other leg, and then you just hold that stretch, and then you actually lower the leg that is over your bent leg, and you lower that to the ground. I don't know what this is called. It's like a figure 4 pigeon something or other, but you gotta make sure that the foot that's on the ground, make sure that that foot is touching your butt, because that's really gonna help the stretch in your glute. I learned this at the chiropractor. It's really great. And it kind of hurts. Here's a view from the front. So again, I bent my knees. My foot that's on the ground is touching my butt. Make a figure 4 with the other leg. And then you just slowly lower that upper leg to the ground. Try to keep your body facing forward. And then you just slowly do that a few times. Make sure that the foot that's on the ground is staying on the ground. And again, it should be touching your butt at all times. This thing really, you can really feel that stretch in that upper leg and in that glute. And again, I'm just out here looking so sus while I'm watching people. Now we're going back to the butterfly. I don't know if my butterfly improved. It looks about the same that it did when I started. I can't really tell. But again, I just like to make sure that I'm consistent with my butterfly stretches. I feel like they do help, but when I look at the footage kind of side by side, I can't tell if there was really a lot of improvement made. And so here I'm just kind of going back to some of the stretches that I was doing in the beginning, those side to side toe touches, making sure that my legs are staying flat on the ground. And there was a lot easier for me to touch both of my toes than it was before. Oh, see, we were struggling in the beginning, and now, now we've gotten a lot better. So just a few minutes So just like 10 or 12 minutes of stretching really ended up improving in the end. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for stretching with me. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I will see you in the next video.